Welcome to our deep dive today.
Yeah.
We're going to be unpacking some pretty compelling insights from global business leaders.
Okay.
We're looking at the DCRO Institute's 2025 Risk Governance Priorities Survey.
Right.
And this captures a wealth of perspectives on the challenges and opportunities that are facing organizations today.
Yeah, and what I find particularly interesting about this survey is that it doesn't just present a list of risks,
Right.
things to be avoided.
Yeah.
Instead, it highlights the forces that are actively shaping the future of business.
Yeah.
It's like a roadmap for navigating this complex and ever-changing landscape.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like they're giving us a peek into the boardrooms
Yeah.
of some of the world's most influential companies and letting us listen in on their strategic conversations.
Exactly.
So what are the big things on their minds?
Well, the survey identified 6 key areas that respondents ranked as the most important in terms of their potential impact on strategic planning in 2025. And what's fascinating is that they're all interconnected, creating a web of challenges and opportunities that businesses need to grapple with.
Okay, let's dive into those 6 areas.
Go.
The first one that really jumped out at me was AI and technological advancements.
Right.
This seems to be a source of both excitement and anxiety for business leaders.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
You see this tension reflected in the survey responses. There's this push and pull between wanting to embrace AI for competitive advantage, but also wanting to manage the risks that come with it.
Yeah.
For example, one respondent said, and I quote, "AI is infiltrating every aspect of life while regulation is lagging behind."
That's a powerful statement.
It is.
It speaks to the rapid pace of AI adoption and the potential disruption it's bringing to practically every industry. We're not just talking about automating tasks here.
Right.
We're talking about fundamentally reshaping how businesses operate and create value.
Right, and this raises a whole host of questions.
Yeah.
How do you govern something that's evolving so rapidly? How do you ensure that AI is used ethically and responsibly? How do you prepare your workforce for the changes that AI will bring?
These are questions that every business leader needs to be thinking about.
Absolutely.
And the DCRO Institute offers some excellent resources
Yeah.
to help navigate this complex landscape.
Yeah, they do.
For example, their report,
Mm-hmm.
Artificial Intelligence and the Board,
Right.
provides practical guidance for boards
Yeah.
on how to oversee AI initiatives
Yes.
and ensure that they align with the company's overall strategy and values.
And it's not just about the board.
Right.
AI has implications for every level of the organization, from the CEO to the frontline employees.
Yes.
It's about building a culture of AI literacy where everyone understands how AI works, its potential benefits and risks, and how to use it responsibly.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the second key area highlighted in the survey.
Okay.
Geopolitical risks and economic uncertainty.
Yeah.
It seems like we're living in an era of unprecedented volatility and unpredictability. And this is clearly weighing heavily on the minds of business leaders.
You can definitely see that in the survey responses.
Yeah.
There's a lot of concern about the impact of global conflicts, trade wars, political instability, and economic factors like inflation and currency fluctuations.
Right.
That's a lot to grapple with, and it makes strategic planning incredibly challenging.
One respondent put it this way.
Yeah.
Increasing inflation and higher yields impact stock markets.
Right.
It's a stark reminder that these global events have very real consequences for businesses, impacting everything from supply chains to consumer demand to investment decisions.
Right, and it requires a shift in mindset.
Yeah.
We can't just rely on traditional forecasting models and risk assessments anymore. We need to be more agile, more adaptable, and more comfortable with uncertainty.
Yeah.
We need to develop new tools and frameworks for navigating a VUCA world.
The DCRO Institute offers some interesting perspectives on this. For instance, their document, The Age of Strategy Disruption, challenges traditional approaches to strategic planning.
Right.
And encourages organizations to embrace a more fluid and dynamic approach to strategy development.
It's about moving beyond static 5-year plans and embracing a more iterative and adaptive approach.
Right.
Where we're constantly scanning the horizon, anticipating change, and adjusting course as needed.
Yeah.
It's a very different way of thinking about strategy.
Okay, let's move on to the third key area identified in the survey. Climate change and sustainability.
Okay.
This has gone from being a niche issue to a mainstream business concern.
Yeah.
And it's clearly top of mind for many of the survey respondents.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're seeing a shift in mindset here from viewing sustainability as a compliance issue or a PR exercise to seeing it as a core business imperative.
Yeah.
Investors, customers, employees, regulators, they're all demanding action on climate change and sustainability,
Right.
and they're holding businesses accountable.
One respondent put it this way. The conversation on climate change and its continued impact on the supply chain, processes, and cost of doing business is a reality to be addressed at the board.
Yeah.
It's no longer a side issue. It's a strategic issue that needs to be integrated into every aspect of the business.
Right. And it's not just about mitigating risks. It's also about identifying opportunities. Sustainability can be a source of innovation, differentiation, and competitive advantage.
Yeah.
It can help companies attract and retain top talent, reduce costs, improve brand reputation, and build stronger relationships with stakeholders.
The DCRO Institute offers some great resources on this topic, including their 5 checkpoints on your board's Oversight of Climate Risk podcast.
Yeah.
It provides practical guidance on how boards can effectively govern climate-related risks and ensure that sustainability is embedded into the company's strategy and operations.
They also have resources on topics like ESG reporting, climate scenario analysis, and developing a climate-resilient business strategy. It's about providing organizations with the tools and knowledge they need to turn sustainability challenges into strategic opportunities.
The 4th key area that emerged from the survey is cybersecurity threats.
Right.
And I think it's safe to say that in today's digital world, cybersecurity is no longer just an IT issue.
Absolutely.
It's a business risk that can have significant consequences for organizations of all sizes and across all industries.
Absolutely. We're seeing a dramatic increase in the frequency and sophistication of cyber attacks.
Right.
And the stakes are higher than ever before.
Yeah.
A single breach can result in significant financial losses, reputational damage, regulatory fines, and even legal liabilities.
One respondent put it very succinctly. Cybersecurity threats are on the increase and can cause a lot of reputational damage and losses. It's a sobering reminder that cybersecurity is not something that can be taken lightly.
Right. And it's not just about having the latest technology or implementing the most sophisticated security controls. It's about building a culture of cybersecurity awareness, where everyone in the organization understands the risks and their role in mitigating those risks.
It's about having strong governance structures in place.
Yeah.
With clear roles and responsibilities for cybersecurity at the board level, senior management, and throughout the organization.
The DCRO Institute offers some excellent guidance on this,
Okay.
including their podcast, the DCRO Guiding Principles for Cyber Risk Governance.
Right.
It provides a framework for building a comprehensive cybersecurity program that addresses both the technical and the human elements of cybersecurity.
And they also have resources on topics like data privacy, cloud security, and managing third-party cyber risks.
Yes.
It's about providing organizations with a holistic view of cybersecurity and helping them to develop a multi-layered approach to risk mitigation.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about the 5th key area identified in the survey: talent management and workforce challenges.
Okay.
The world of work is changing, rapidly driven by factors like globalization, technological advancements, and generational shifts. And this is creating a whole new set of challenges for businesses.
One respondent put it this way: Generation Z have their own way of working that is unconventional.
Right.
This speaks to the need for organizations to adapt their approaches to talent management,
Yes.
to attract and retain the next generation of workers.
Right. Younger generations have different expectations about work-life balance, career development, and the role of technology in the workplace.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid to switch jobs if they don't feel valued or if their needs aren't being met.
Another respondent emphasized the importance of leadership development, succession planning, and impact investment.
Yeah.
This points to the need for organizations to invest in developing future leaders and creating a pipeline of talent to ensure the long-term sustainability of the business.
It's about moving beyond traditional talent management practices and embracing a more holistic and strategic approach that aligns with the changing needs of the workforce and the evolving nature of work itself.
The DCRO Institute offers some interesting perspectives on this.
Yeah.
They emphasize the importance of building a culture of learning and development, fostering diversity and inclusion, and creating a work environment that is both challenging and rewarding.
They also highlight the need to leverage technology to enhance the employee experience, streamline HR processes,
Right.
and provide personalized learning and development opportunities.
Yeah.
It's about using technology to empower employees and create a more engaging and fulfilling work environment.
Cool. Let's move on to the sixth and final key area identified in the survey: regulatory changes and compliance.
Okay.
It seems like we're living in an era of unprecedented regulatory change.
Yeah.
And this is creating a lot of uncertainty and complexity for businesses.
Absolutely, new regulations are emerging all the time,
Yeah.
driven by factors like globalization, technological advancements, and the increasing focus on sustainability and social responsibility.
Right.
And this is putting a lot of pressure on organizations to stay ahead of the curve and ensure compliance.
One respondent emphasized the importance of corporations flourishing when there is regulatory and legal certainty.
Yeah.
This highlights the need for clarity and predictability in the regulatory environment to enable businesses to plan and invest for the future.
Right. But the reality is that the regulatory landscape is becoming increasingly complex and dynamic, and it's challenging for businesses to keep up.
Yeah.
They need to develop new strategies and processes for managing regulatory change and ensuring compliance.
The DCRO Institute offers some valuable resources and insights on this.
They do.
They provide updates on new regulations, best practice guidance, and tools for assessing and managing compliance risks.
They also emphasize the importance of building strong relationships with regulators, engaging in constructive dialogue, and working collaboratively to find solutions that meet both regulatory requirements and business needs.
One respondent specifically mentioned the new DORA and CSRD regulatory frameworks and their impact on businesses. These are just two examples of the many new regulations that organizations need to be aware of and prepared to comply with. So we've covered a lot of ground here exploring the 6 key risk governance priorities identified in the DCRO Institute's 2025 Priorities Survey.
Yeah.
We've talked about the challenges and opportunities presented by each of these areas and highlighted some of the resources and insights the DCRO Institute offers to help organizations navigate this complex landscape.
It's a great resource.
It is a great resource.
Yeah.
And I think they've done a really good job of capturing the key issues that are top of mind for business leaders today.
Absolutely.
But it's important to remember that these 6 areas are not isolated silos. They're all interconnected, and the risks and opportunities associated with one area often have implications for the others.
It's like a complex ecosystem where everything is connected and a change in one part of the system can ripple through the entire ecosystem.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to take a holistic and integrated approach to risk governance. One that considers the interdependencies between different risks and opportunities, and that seeks to create a resilient and adaptable organization that can thrive in a world of constant change.
Well said.
We'll be back in a few minutes to continue our exploration of these crucial risk governance priorities
Okay.
and discuss some practical steps that organizations can take to navigate these challenges and unlock the opportunities that lie ahead.
Looking forward to it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Are you ready to elevate your career and stand out in the world of risk governance? Welcome to the DCRO Institute, the global leader in board member education and risk governance credentials. Our programs are designed by top-tier executives, board members, and industry experts, equipping you with the skills to govern risk strategically and create value for your organization. With credentials like the Qualified Risk Director designation, an elite recognition awarded exclusively by the DCRO Institute to individuals who demonstrate exceptional ability to integrate corporate strategy with the positive governance of risk-taking. Their skills can be applied in the work of many board committees, wherever risk is part of the conversation. Or our Qualified Risk Expert designation, designed to identify outstanding board members specifically for service on board risk committees. We also offer the course-based Certificate in Risk Governance and the Certificate in Cyber Risk Governance. Our graduates serve on boards in more than 60 countries across 6 continents, making an impact wherever they serve. But we're more than just credentials. At the DCRO Institute, you'll join dynamic peer communities, guided study cohorts, and benefit from our strategic partnerships that foster collaboration, innovation, and continuous learning. Together, we're shaping a global movement of positive risk governance. Take the next step in your professional journey. Visit dcroi.org today and discover how the DCRO Institute can help you innovate, sustain, and create value. The DCRO Institute, where leaders in risk governance are made.
Welcome back.
So before we delve deeper into each of those 6 priorities,
Yeah.
I think it's worth highlighting a key theme that runs through many of the survey responses, the importance of adaptability and resilience.
Yeah, that resonated with me as well. It's clear that business leaders are recognizing that we're operating in a world of constant change and disruption.
Right.
The old ways of doing things just don't cut it anymore.
Absolutely.
One respondent put it this way.
Okay.
AI cybersecurity. Things are moving at a breakneck speed, and we must be prepared. This sense of urgency, this need to be able to adapt quickly and effectively, is palpable in many of the responses.
It seems that businesses are realizing that they need to be more like agile startups than lumbering corporations if they want to survive and thrive in this environment.
I think that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
We need to be able to pivot quickly, experiment, learn from our mistakes, and constantly adapt to new information and changing circumstances.
And that requires a different kind of leadership.
Yes.
One that's comfortable with ambiguity, embraces experimentation, and empowers employees to take ownership and make decisions.
Right. The traditional command and control style of leadership just isn't effective in a world that's constantly in flux.
We need leaders who can inspire and motivate their teams, who can create a culture of trust and collaboration, and who can foster a sense of shared purpose. Absolutely. So with that in mind, let's dive back into the 6 priorities.
Okay.
And explore some of the specific challenges and opportunities they present.
Sounds good.
We've already touched on AI and technological advancements.
Right.
But I think it's worth exploring this in a bit more depth.
Okay.
One of the things that struck me about the survey responses was the concern about the ethical implications of AI.
Yeah, that's a critical issue.
Yeah.
We're seeing a growing awareness of the potential for AI to be used in ways that are discriminatory, biased, or even harmful.
Right.
And there's a lot of debate about how to ensure that AI is developed and deployed ethically and responsibly.
One respondent highlighted the challenge of digitalizing the company operations, yet preserving the microfinance business model due to client illiteracy and social environment vulnerability.
Right.
This really illustrates the need to consider the broader social impact of technology, particularly in contexts where there are existing inequalities or vulnerabilities.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
It highlights the need to approach AI implementation with a nuanced understanding of the specific context.
Right.
And to consider the potential unintended consequences.
Yes.
It's not enough to simply focus on the technical capabilities of AI. We need to think about the human impact as well.
Another respondent mentioned the risks associated with unauthorized but yet binding contractual agreements concluded with third-party external service providers.
Right.
In the context of increasing digitalization, it's a reminder that as we embrace new technologies, we need to ensure that our governance structures and risk management processes are keeping pace.
Absolutely. It's about anticipating potential vulnerabilities and building in safeguards to mitigate those risks. And it's about ensuring that everyone involved in the implementation of AI understands their roles and responsibilities and the ethical considerations involved.
So it's clear that AI is a powerful tool that has the potential to transform businesses in profound ways.
It is.
But it's also a tool that needs to be used responsibly and ethically.
Absolutely.
And that requires careful planning,
Yes.
thoughtful governance, and ongoing dialogue and collaboration among stakeholders.
Now let's shift gears and talk about the second priority, geopolitical risks and economic uncertainty.
Okay.
One of the things that stood out to me in the survey responses was the level of concern about the impact of global events on business operations.
Yes. There's definitely a sense that businesses are feeling increasingly vulnerable to forces outside of their control, whether it's political instability in a key market, disruptions to global supply chains, or the volatility of currency exchange rates. These external factors can have a significant impact on a company's bottom line.
One respondent highlighted the need for strategic initiatives for sustainable growth using the power of AI as competitive advantages, while acknowledging the need to understand and anticipate the climate and geopolitics impact on business performance.
Right.
This really underscores the need to think strategically about how to navigate these complex and interconnected challenges.
It's about seeing the bigger picture and understanding how different forces are interacting and influencing each other.
Yeah.
And it's about developing strategies that are flexible and adaptable enough to respond to unexpected events.
Another respondent talked about the need to carefully balance the risks associated with regulatory and political agenda shifts while strategically expanding to unlock new revenue streams.
Right.
This highlights the challenge of pursuing growth opportunities in a world where the rules of the game are constantly changing.
It requires a delicate balancing act between seizing opportunities and managing risks.
It does.
And it requires a deep understanding of the political and regulatory landscape,
Mm-hmm.
as well as the ability to anticipate and adapt to change.
One of the tools that organizations can use to navigate this uncertainty is scenario planning. By developing different scenarios for how the future might unfold, companies can test their strategies against a range of possibilities and identify potential vulnerabilities or opportunities.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It's about moving beyond linear forecasting models and embracing a more dynamic and multifaceted approach to strategic planning.
Right, and it's about recognizing that we can't predict the future with certainty.
Right.
But we can prepare for a range of possibilities and build in the flexibility to adapt as needed.
Now let's move on to the third priority: climate change and sustainability.
Okay.
The survey responses make it clear that this is no longer just a niche issue.
It's not.
It's a mainstream business concern that's attracting increasing attention from investors, customers, employees, and regulators.
Absolutely. One respondent even called for a certificate on the role of the boards driving climate change.
Wow.
It's clear that there's a growing demand for expertise and leadership in this area.
Yeah.
And organizations are recognizing the need to step up their game.
One respondent put it this way: it is, because it's no longer about achieving strategy, but building a sustainable organization, industries, societies, and countries.
Right.
It's a powerful statement that speaks to the interconnectedness of business and society,
It does.
and the responsibility that organizations have to consider the broader impact of their actions.
It's about moving beyond a narrow focus on shareholder value and embracing a more holistic view of value creation that takes into account the interests of all stakeholders, including employees, customers, communities, and the environment.
And that requires a fundamental shift in thinking about the role of business in society.
It does.
It's about recognizing that business can be a force for good in the world,
Yeah.
and that sustainability is not just about mitigating risks, but also about creating opportunities for innovation growth and positive social impact.
The DCRO Institute offers some interesting frameworks for thinking about this.
Okay.
They talk about positive governance of risk-taking, which encourages organizations to see risk not just as something to be avoided, but also as something that can be leveraged to create value and drive innovation.
It's a really interesting concept.
It is.
It suggests that by embracing risk intelligently and strategically,
Yeah.
organizations can not only mitigate potential threats, but also unlock new opportunities for growth and impact.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot where we can balance risk and reward, where we can push the boundaries without being reckless, and where we can use our understanding of risk to drive positive change.
All right, let's move on to the fourth priority: cybersecurity threats.
Okay.
The survey responses highlight the fact that this is a top-of-mind concern for organizations of all sizes and across all industries.
Right.
And for good reason. The cyber threat landscape is constantly evolving,
It is.
and the stakes are higher than ever before.
One respondent put it this way.
Yeah.
AI is a big change in the workforce aspects, which will imply a serious consideration about internal development versus new hiring. This really highlights the need for organizations to rethink their talent strategies in light of technological advancements.
It's about recognizing that the skills and competencies that are needed to succeed in today's workplace are changing rapidly, and that organizations need to invest in upskilling and reskilling their workforce to stay ahead of the curve.
Another respondent emphasized the importance of deploying risk culture at all levels of the organization.
Right.
This speaks to the need for a cultural shift, where risk awareness and risk management are embedded into every aspect of the business, not just siloed in a specific department.
It's about creating a culture of shared responsibility for risk,
Yeah.
where everyone understands the risks the organization faces and their role in mitigating those risks.
Right.
And it's about empowering employees to speak up about potential risks and concerns without fear of retribution.
Right. And that requires strong leadership from the top,
Yes.
setting the tone for a risk-aware culture and demonstrating a commitment to ethical and responsible risk-taking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it also requires investing in training and development to build risk management capabilities throughout the organization.
Yes.
It's not enough to have a few experts in risk management.
Right.
Everyone needs to have a basic understanding of risk and how to manage it effectively.
Now let's turn our attention to the fifth priority, talent management and workforce challenges.
Okay.
The survey responses highlight the significant changes happening in the workplace driven by factors like generational shifts, technological advancements, and the evolving nature of work itself.
Right.
And this is forcing organizations to rethink their approaches to talent management. It's about finding solutions that work for everyone,
Right.
not just the tech-savvy or those who are already comfortable with digital tools.
Right.
It's about ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to participate in the digital economy and benefit from technological advancements.
Another respondent highlighted the need for techniques for scenario planning and stakeholder management. In a VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous environment, this underscores the importance of being able to anticipate and respond to change, to engage with stakeholders effectively, and to develop flexible strategies that can adapt to evolving circumstances.
It's about moving beyond traditional linear planning models and embracing a more agile and iterative approach to strategy development and execution.
Right. And it's about recognizing that the world is becoming increasingly interconnected, and that organizations need to be able to operate effectively in a globalized and complex environment.
The DCRO Institute offers a range of resources and training programs to help organizations develop these capabilities.
Yeah.
They emphasize the importance of building a culture of continuous learning, embracing diversity and inclusion, and creating a work environment that is both challenging and rewarding.
And they also highlight the need to leverage technology to enhance the employee experience, streamline HR processes,
Yes.
and provide personalized learning and development opportunities.
Right.
It's about using technology to empower employees and create a more engaging and fulfilling work environment.
Okay, let's move on to the sixth and final priority, regulatory changes and compliance.
Okay.
The survey responses highlight the increasing complexity and pace of regulatory change, creating challenges for organizations across industries. One approach that can be helpful is to create a regulatory roadmap
Okay.
that outlines the key regulations that apply to the organization and tracks the status of compliance efforts.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
It's about having a systematic and proactive approach to regulatory compliance, rather than just reacting to changes as they come up.
Right. And it's about building a culture of compliance within the organization where everyone understands their responsibilities and is committed to doing the right thing.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this episode, exploring the 6 key risk governance priorities identified in the DCRO Institute's 2025 Priorities Survey.
We have?
And while each of these priorities presents its own set of challenges and opportunities, there's a common thread that runs through them all: the need for adaptability, resilience, and a strategic mindset.
Exactly. It's not enough to simply react to events as they unfold.
Right.
Organizations need to be proactive, anticipate potential disruptions, and develop strategies that can adapt to a rapidly changing environment.
And they need to foster a culture of risk awareness and risk intelligence, where everyone in the organization understands their role in managing risk,
Yes.
and where risk is seen not just as a threat, but also as a potential source of opportunity.
In today's fast-paced, complex business environment, every board needs a qualified risk director. These leaders bring a unique blend of business acumen, risk governance expertise, and strategic insight to ensure organizations take risks well in pursuit of their goals. Qualified risk directors don't just govern risk, they transform it into a strategic advantage, fostering innovation, resilience, and long-term success. With their ability to link corporate strategy to the positive governance of risk-taking, they're essential for navigating uncertainty and driving growth. Elevate your board's effectiveness. Add a qualified risk director today. Learn more at DCROI.org. The DCRO Institute, where leaders in risk governance are made.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
It's great to be back.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the DCRO Institute's 2025 Risk Governance Priorities Survey, I'm struck by how these 6 key areas that we've discussed really paint a picture of the future of business.
They do, don't they? It's not just a checklist of things to worry about,
Right.
but a framework for how organizations need to evolve to thrive in the years ahead.
Exactly. So
Okay.
for our listener, let's distill this down to some tangible takeaways.
Okay.
If you're a leader,
Yeah.
what should you be doing differently based on these insights?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is the need to embed risk intelligence into the very DNA of your organization.
Okay, unpack that a bit. What does that actually look like in practice?
It means moving beyond the traditional siloed approach to risk management,
Right.
where it's seen as someone else's problem.
Hmm.
Instead, it needs to be integrated into strategic decision-making at all levels.
So not just having a risk department,
Right.
but a culture where everyone understands that they have a role to play in identifying, assessing, and mitigating risks.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that requires a shift in mindset from seeing risk as something negative to be avoided
Yeah.
to understanding that intelligent risk-taking is essential for innovation and growth.
I like that. It's about reframing risk as a potential source of opportunity
Yes.
rather than just a threat.
Exactly. And this ties into another key takeaway, which is the importance of agility and adaptability.
Mm-hmm.
The survey responses clearly indicate that the pace of change is accelerating,
Right.
and organizations need to be able to respond quickly and effectively.
One respondent talked about the need to stay innovative, but using new ways to innovate. I think that captures the essence of what we're talking about here.
That does. It's not enough to just keep doing what we've always done, but better.
Yeah.
We need to be willing to challenge assumptions,
Right.
experiment with new approaches, and embrace a culture of continuous learning.
So in a way, these risk governance priorities are also a call to action for innovation.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And that innovation needs to extend to how we manage risk itself.
Okay.
We need to be leveraging new technologies like AI and data analytics to enhance our risk management capabilities.
And we need to be developing new frameworks, methodologies that are better suited to the complexity and uncertainty of the modern business environment.
Right. The old ways of doing things just aren't cutting it anymore.
Yeah.
We need to be more agile, more data-driven, and more collaborative in our approach to risk management.
As we wrap up this episode, I want to thank our listener for joining us on this deep dive into the DCRO Institute's 2025 Risk Governance Priorities Survey.
It's been a pleasure exploring these important topics with you.
And I hope our listener has gained some valuable insights and actionable takeaways that they can apply to their own organizations.
If there's one thing I hope you'll take away from this episode, it's that risk is not something to be feared, but embraced.
Right.
By understanding risk, managing it intelligently,
Yeah.
and turning it into a strategic advantage, we can build more resilient, sustainable, and successful businesses
Absolutely.
and a better future for all.
Well said. And to our listener, we encourage you to continue exploring these topics.
Yes,
And to connect with the DCRO Institute for further insights and guidance.
they're a great resource.
They are. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay ahead of the risk curve.